let's not think about that. Let's not think through those expensive purchases. Let's not think through them at all. Hello there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I want to talk to you about the bags that I have sold and regretted, and some tips that I've learnt along the way to try and help you avoid seller's remorse if you're thinking of selling any of your bags. These are things I probably wish that I had put into practice and known and carried out before I sold these bags that I actually do genuinely regret selling. There are a lot of bags I've sold over the years that I don't regret, I don't even think about anymore, but these ones stick in my heart like a stab, and I was silly. So, quick rundown. I have sold recently the boy bag, Palm Springs Mini, the Caramel Chanel Mini, the Chanel Charms camera bag, the Nano Speedy, the Fendi bucket bag, the Louis Vuitton Twist in the size. I sold before that the Louis Vuitton Brea in the and in the PM. And I don't regret any of those. I haven't thought about any of those. I haven't went to reach for any of those. There are absolutely no regrets about any of those bags. And that is because when I sold them, it was for the right reasons. I had fallen out of love with them. I wasn't reaching for them. They didn't work for me. I had left it a while to make sure that I didn't want to use that bag, or I didn't look for it. I had went about it the right way. There are a couple of bags that I sold that I very much regret selling, and the first one that immediately comes to mind is the Louis Vuitton Speedy in the 25 in the Empreinte leather. This bag was stunning. It was basically this colour, so it was pretty much the colour of my Birkin, very, very similar. It had a crossbody strap that it came with. You could shorten the crossbody strap to put it onto your shoulder. You could obviously carry it handheld as a Speedy. It had a beautiful, even talking about it's annoying me because I really regret this one. It had a beautiful lining that was striped the same colour as this. It fit so much. It was a lovely, lovely bag. And to this day, I want to bang myself on the head for selling it. I sold it because I didn't use it that much after whenever I initially got it. It was one of the first bags that I got and I wore it a lot. It had some corner wear. I wore it a lot. I did use that bag. Then when I started to get some other bags, I didn't use it as much. Rookie mistake. If you get some new bags and you're suddenly not using some of your older bags as much, don't suddenly look to sell them, because it could just be the newness of the new bags you're looking for and you will come back to wanting to use that other bag. Don't just be impulsive like me and jump in there and think, oh, I'm ready to sell that bag now. I thought when I wore it crossbody, this BD25 was a bit too bulky on me. It didn't really suit my frame crossbody, but of course you don't have to always wear it crossbody. That's another thing. I have now learnt that not every bag has to be specifically designed and work for crossbody. I also sold this bag for a ridiculously low amount of money. It was before I had as many bags. I hadn't sold as many bags. I don't like to sell bags. I hadn't been on Instagram or YouTube. Sold it for a stupid amount of money. I would much prefer still having that bag, very rarely using it, but rather than having that small amount of money to have that bag. It makes me wonder where I'd lost my mind at the time. I'm normally pretty sensible when it comes to finances. I have a whole other channel and I will talk about finances, but what I sold that bag for was ludicrous. Oh, there's another regret I just thought of. But yes, that one I absolutely regret. I should have kept for the odd time that I could use it, or when I needed a bigger bag, or when I needed a bag that I could throw across me that was a bit bulkier but fit a bit more in it, rather than the mini bags that I have. And I regret that one. I should not have been so impulsive. I should not have just let it go so quickly. And I shouldn't have been in such a rush to sell it that I took a stupidly low amount of money. I didn't need the money. I had just decided in my mind it was time to sell that bag. Stupid. decided it was time to sell it. So I sold it, and I sold it for less than a quarter of what it cost me. It blows my brain how silly that was. I very, very, very much regret that one. I also sold a Chanel Square Mini in the 18B. You can see my rectangle 18B teal mini poking out there. It was the same colour as that. It was in the quilting and it was in the square. I don't regret selling that bag. I sold that bag because I found the rectangle in the chevron, which was the one I always wanted. So I don't regret selling that bag, but again, I regret selling it without doing my market research and selling it for a ridiculously low price. I'm sure the seller thought, happy days, bring her along. I sold that for well below retail. And as we know, caviar minis are selling by some people well above retail. I didn't even sell it for retail. I sold it for way below retail, and I regret that. I don't regret selling the bag, but I regret not doing my research and not finding better places to sell and selling it for such a low amount of money. It's just beggar's belief. I regret that one. I also kind of regret selling the Chanel Deville. I know. It was such a pretty pink, and I was so ready to sell that bag. At the time, I was so ready to let go of that bag. But that bag is stunning. I put an organiser in it because I like a bit of structure in my bags. But I think putting the organiser in it, I think I'd have been better leaving that bag without the organiser and having it a little bit sloppier and a bit floppier. I rationalised to myself that I always use an Everfull, and don't get me wrong, I would still, in the vast majority of cases, choose the Neverfull. I have 2 young children and 4 dogs. When we're travelling, everything gets thrown into that Neverfull. It gets stuffed under the seat in front of the plane. In fact, luxury diehards would be appalled at how that bag gets pushed into the plane. It gets taken everywhere. It gets taken to work. And I still would be choosing the Neverfull to do that on the vast majority of times over the Deville. Why I think I kind of regret selling the Deville is because I am, my children are still very young. They're about to turn 6 and 3, but I am starting to see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Not that I want to wish their lives away. I don't. If I could freeze my 3-year-old where he is, oh my goodness, I would freeze him. But there's more opportunities coming for me to go away with friends and not with my children. And I'm able to have a slightly different lifestyle whenever we do that. I'm going with Bestie shortly to a beautiful, beautiful place. We're going to sunbathe, we're going to drink cocktails, we're going to walk around the town, it's going to be fab, we're going to go to the beach. I could use the Deville there. I could use the Deville with him because he wouldn't be throwing in the sun cream without the top on it. He wouldn't be throwing in the 65 drinks my children need in a day. The packets of raisins wouldn't be falling out and landing at the bottom of it. There wouldn't be breakfast bars for them in. It would be a bit more civilised. So I could use it then. So I'm starting to realise that there are going to be more opportunities down the line where I could use the Deville. Even if it's not as often or that often, there are going to be times when I could use it and I would love to use it. So I kind of regret selling that one. I kind of do regret letting that one go. Another one that I didn't sell but I nearly sold and I stopped myself because I thought I would have regretted it was this Chanel Gabrielle. And I'm looking at her on the viewfinder and thinking, yes, I'm glad you did not sell that bag. I would have regretted selling this bag. I know I would have. This bag doesn't get used overly much by me because, one, it's quite heavy with the tacky big strap that I love. You can take it off, but I like it on. So it's quite heavy with the big strap. It's quite heavy with the chains. It has the base. It's quite heavy. So I don't use it that much because it's quite heavy and I have an old shoulder injury and heavy bags can cause me problems. So this one doesn't get used that much. Also, I feel this burgundy colour, which I really like, and this is the specific colour I wanted, but I feel the burgundy colour is quite an autumny, wintry colour for me, so I don't use it during the summer. And then in the autumn and winter, I also have the Dior saddle bag in basically the same colour. So I'm now also using the saddle bag as well as this one. So the times when I would have used this are lesser because it's being shared between the two and they're very similar in colour. And I remember when I bought the saddle bag, Bestie sent me, I wonder what that means for the Gabrielle. let's not think about that. Let's not think through those expensive purchases. Let's not think through them at all. Moving swiftly on. So this I did think about selling, but the Gabrielle does not hold their value all that well. There is talk that they may be being discontinued. If I sold this, I would have lost quite a lot of money on it. It's hardly been used. And I really like it. I really, really like the bag. I'm just limited with the weight as to how often I use it. But there's still plenty of opportunities when I do use it. And I think I would have regretted letting this one go for the price that it would have been. Even if it had been retail, I think I would have regretted letting this one go. And it was Rod from the Lux Theory said to me, "Yo, be careful. Are you sure? That one's hard to find. Think that one through. That bag's very you. I just want you to be sure." And he was right. I'm glad I didn't sell this one because I think I would have regretted it. So what have I learnt from all of those lessons? Expensive, painful, heartfelt lessons. Tips that I can give you to try and help you not have seller's remorse. The first big one is do not sell bags on impulse. Do not sell bags on impulse. Another reason why I considered selling this one, as well as not using it that much, was I had just bought the Birkin and I was selling a couple of bags to recoup some of the money that the Birkin had cost. And I almost got into that mindset of purge, sell my bags. Not going to curate my collection because I like to collect colours, but must sell some bags. And I almost took on a desperation of looking at what I must sell because I felt I'd spent so much money on this and I wanted to bring some money in that I thought about that. And that's the wrong reason. Do not sell bags unless you really need the money. If you really need the money, that's different. Sell them all if you need to feed your family. But for me, it wasn't that extreme. So don't sell bags on impulse. Do not just get a new bag and the old one loses a bit of its shine and you sell it because you might regret it. Don't sell it because you're feeling like, oh, I've got so many bags, I must sell some of these. Or somebody on the internet told me that you're meant to only have so many bags and I should be creating and I need to sell some of these. Don't. So don't sell your bags on impulse or without thinking it through because you might come to regret them. Don't, if you can avoid it, be in too much of a rush to sell your bags because one, you'll do what I did and took a silly amount of money for 2 of them. Stupid. You will take pressure. The seller will sense that you're in a hurry to sell your bag. You will panic and you will end up succumbing to that pressure and selling it less than what it's worth and less than what you should be selling it for, and you'll lose money on it. And the seller will be, or the purchaser will be delighted because they're getting a win over your misfortune. So I would say don't do what I did and don't be in a hurry. Try to be patient. If you know you're going to sell bags or you're going to need to sell bags for something, try and do that a bit in advance so as you're not under pressure to sell them quickly. One thing that really works for me is take the bag that you're thinking of selling and put it away. Put it away out of sight. Put it somewhere you cannot see it. And see, and I'm not talking about for a week, for a few weeks at least. And see if you look for that bag. See if you look to use it. See if you miss it. See if you're looking for it to put with something. And if you don't, it's probably a pretty good indicator that you're ready to sell the bag. Give your bag a last hurrah. Take it out. Use it. Does it drive you nuts? Do you love it? Did you realise how much you've been missing it? Take it out one last time and just be sure for that one time of using it, you might save yourself a whole world pain. Just be sure, take it out one last time and use the bag and see how you feel. Try it on with lots of outfits. I will take my bags and try them on with so many things before I sell it to see if I'm thinking, oh, this is the bag that I need for something that I love to wear. See if it makes you sing whenever you put it on and you're thinking, oh, I couldn't possibly not have this bag to wear with this. Or if you don't really have all that many feelings about the bag at all. Do your market research, find out how much you should be getting back for your bag in the condition of your bag. Don't just take the first offer. Really look and see what your bag is worth to make sure you're not getting absolutely undercut like I did. 2 of the biggest regrets I have about luxury buying and selling. Not that I do very much of it, but definitely luxury regrets that I have. And that being said, when I did my vlog sale, I was quite committed to selling my pieces at a reasonable price. I did not go over retail. I did not try to get back more than I thought they were worth. I tried to be very fair. So I'm not talking about having sold these 2 bags for a reasonable price as opposed to making a big profit. No. I'm talking about having sold them for a ridiculously low price and lost a stupid amount of money. And the last thing is have a look through your bags and see if you have something else that you would be happy to wear whenever you would have been wearing the bag you're thinking of selling. So when I was thinking of selling one of my bags in particular, there's another bag that I wear similarly to it, and I tried that with everything to make sure I would be happy with that before I let it go. And those are just some tips for you to do and spend some time doing before you make the decision to try and avoid seller's remorse, because seller's remorse can be a nightmare. Can be very difficult to get the bag back, the same bag that you sold. You can, with price increases, end up buying the bag back for far more than one, you sold it, and two, you initially bought it for in the first place. And it can just be frustrating to know that you sold something and now you're buying it back and the money you've lost in between, and it can just be a bit not nice of a feeling. So I say try and do these little steps just to be sure before you do sell any of your bags that you're not going to regret them. Those are the bags I've regretted selling. I hope these tips have been helpful. Let me know what you think in the comment box. Is there bags that you've sold that you regret selling? If you haven't yet, I'd love it if you consider subscribing. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching me. Please take care, and I will see you again in the next one.